Hello.
Lockdown with the Loshies.
Welcome.
Well, Instagram's always really quick, but Facebook's slow to come to the party.
Come on, Zuckers.
Oh, goodness. Here we go. We're live. Thank goodness. Oh, we've been live for 6 seconds. Everyone's probably heard everything we've said right now. How you going, guys? Welcome to another episode of Lockdown with the Loshies. We are so excited to be here with you tonight. We've had a massive week. For those of you joining for the first time, I'm Bianca, the Feel Good Mama, and I have an absolute passion helping women who want more in their life. And we focus on health, mindset, and creating a meaningful income around motherhood. And this is my darling husband, knowledge through Anthony, and he is one philosophical man. Let's just say that. You'll see through tuning into us a little bit more that he does have a lot of wisdom to share.
Sometimes.
Oh, guys. All right. So we're going to get into this tonight. And I've called it the topic, the I Am Enough Saga. Let's talk about the I Am Enough Saga. Okay. So we've been in isolation for the last however many months. And in that time, everyone's on the same playing field. We didn't talk about it like this, but we went for a walk the other day and this topic came up and I'm like, we're all on the same playing field. Have you noticed that there are less people posting about the trips that they're taking and the fancy clothes or bags that they're buying? Because we're all at home in isolation doing the same thing, and we're getting down to basics again. And in those times, we're starting to ponder, we're starting to have revelations. And we're not comparing ourselves as much. This is like I hope you're getting what I'm putting down here. We're not comparing ourselves as much as we otherwise would be pre-COVID and now going out of COVID isolation. And what that brought up for me personally, and a lot of the women that I've been talking to lately, is I am enough. Like, I am enough the way I am. Or I am not enough. And this is the saga that continues to play. And I don't think personally that the I am enough saga ever goes away, because there is always something that we're striving towards, or, if you're not striving or progressing or trying to be that better version of you, then it's just going to always be there. So we thought we would come on tonight and talk a little bit about self-esteem and self-acceptance, and two things that you can take away and implement from tonight moving forward to move yourself more towards living that life with a high level of confidence, a high level of self-esteem. And if you ever get put off track, you will know how to get back on track very quickly by using these two easy little go-to tools.
Yes. But rather than making this a 3-minute 14 episode and give you the tools right now,
we're not going to do that.
Yeah, because and the reason, there's a valid reason for not doing that, because what we want to discuss, as we have done in previous episodes, we want to discuss some intricate details of self-acceptance, self-esteem. It's gonna dabble in what we've already spoken about before with worth of ourselves and judgment of ourselves and other people. But you got to understand that there's a fine line between all these things, and they all sort of intermingle and balance with each other. And we just want to give you some information. Like I said, so Bianca and I were walking the other day, so we're in this discussion anyway. We want to give the information. Comprehensive, as much as we can, to validate the tools. Do you know what I mean? Like, because otherwise you get these tools. Like, you could go on the internet, bang, punch up a tool and be like, all right, sweet. But there needs to be, we feel that there needs to be something behind the tools. It needs meaning. It needs to invoke some emotion, connection, feeling. It needs to get inside of you for then you wanting to take the steps.
Yeah, and for you to, like you said, that comprehend. When you understand something and it makes sense, then you can be like, okay, this is where it showed up for me. i.e., like I mentioned in my promotion post today, self-esteem or lack of self-esteem can show up as perfectionism in life. It can show up as depression, anxiety, body image issues, constant anger, like that constant snapping, and people pleasing. And I can 100% guarantee you that most of us, if not 90% of us, have had those moments and will revert back to those moments at some point or other when you're on the life journey. And what also triggered this conversation tonight is I was reading an article earlier, and this guy said, how many of you feel like you're not enough as human beings? But he didn't just say this to like an audience of 10 people. He said this to a stadium of hundreds of thousands of successful in inverted commas, people. And he said that 95% of these people all raise their hands. Wow.
Yeah. And
let's just sit with that for a second.
And let me go one level deeper than that. We usually like sort of get deeper as the conversation goes, but because of how important tonight is, I just want to start deep, and then we'll see how it flows after that. But there's Let's
go deep with the Loshies.
I've already. Yes.
Oh gosh.
I feel like it's an important time to talk about this. I may have said it before, but Eckhart Tolle is a really, really deep guy. Bianca,
I can't stand his voice.
Yeah, struggles to dabble with him.
We're talking about like the decibels, and it's going to resonate with you.
Yeah, of course. But one thing in the book, The Power of Now, the first line. So I buy the books, and then I also get some audios, or I do more audios and then buy some of the books because I'm usually driving more than I'm reading. So this really smacked me in the face. So you're here to enable the divine purpose of the future to unfold. That is how important you are. Now, I say that
deep.
It's deep, and I'm not trying to get into any spiritual texts or what you believe in or any one of these topics. That's not my purpose of this. My purpose of this is just for you to understand this is a highly... Yes.
KV loves.
Boom, KV. He's a champ. And if you can sit with this for a moment, you understand the level of awareness that this man has. You can sort of be like, okay, there's something... If I don't love myself, if I don't have the self-acceptance in this moment right now, there's a disconnect between what he just said and what I'm feeling right now. And what we're coming to you tonight to say, we're really trying to say that you are perfect in your imperfections, because they make us uniquely... Well, they make us unique. They make us who we are.
Imagine we were all the same. What a boring place that would be.
It's just not... Well, not only would it be a boring place, it's just not the way that... It's not the way that experience works. It's not the way that energy and information flows. It's just... It just doesn't happen that way. So I want to start that deep, because you need to understand that you're that important. If you're here for a reason. You might have had stuff happen to you in your life. You might be down in the dumps right now. You might be on a freaking high right now. The point to the story is we are all here to enable it to flow right. You are perfect exactly the way that you are, even with your imperfections.
And I guess your job is, in life, how to actually accept that.
So this is the whole point.
Good. That was good. See how random this is? I love it.
The whole point of the self-acceptance is sitting with that. Is sitting with the imperfections. What is actually going to unfold? Because you cannot completely control everything. And every time that you try to, every time that you try to,
like.
at some point, wheels are going to fall, like spokes are going to go crazy, wheels are going to fall off, and you've lost control. And then Bianca's going to tap into like where the anger comes from, because there's different types of triggers that might happen for you. So it might be anger because you can't control the situation, or you're not feeling adequate enough in that situation. And this is where I've heard this time and time again in different texts all across different people, and it's be gentle with yourself. Be gentle with yourself, because Bianca's going to talk about self-talk as well. And with the whole self-talk thing, you keep pounding yourself down, and you're not gentle with yourself. There is no way to raise this up to a point where you accept yourself for who you are.
A person can't be comfortable without their own approval. And we can continue to seek externally for things. And through the women that I've been talking to this week, what keeps popping up is that when they were in the state of I'm not enough, they would seek for to fill in their gaps by purchasing items or spending money on things that were just wishy-washy stuff that actually meant nothing to them, and they'd have it in that and it would feel good for those couple of minutes, or that couple of hours once you got home with whatever goodie you had. But it's like when you buy a new car, you look after that new car for however many weeks, and then 2-3 months later you're like, oh, it's just another car, it's just something that takes me from A to B, right? And you're not just another thing. And that's the thing. Like, we continue to seek externally for this internal validation, and the only approval you need, and I'm talking to myself here, we're talking to ourselves. We always say we're never going to talk about something that we've never experienced or haven't done ourselves. So,
I hope that you feel like we're in your head.
Yeah.
Because that's the point. Because we're all in this journey really together. Like the whole life thing, the whole human experience, we're all sort of on the same track here.
Yeah.
If you like different parts of the journey we've said, but on the same track.
Yeah. And like I said in my post today, when you're going through this stuff, this is not stuff that you sit there and be like, this is what I'm talking about and this is how I feel. And maybe you are that type of person that, you can vent to like certain people in your life, but you don't go and say out loud, I have a self-esteem issue. I have self-acceptance issues. Like, it's subtle. Self-esteem is subtle from in appearance. Like, if I was to, you can put a mask on is what I'm saying. So when you're reflecting anger, for example, like you find yourself snapping all the time, you are putting up a mask. That's what it is. You're putting up a mask, and it's a way to pretend that the opinions of others, for example, don't hurt you. That's what masks are. Sometimes we do that for ourselves to pretend that nothing's internally wrong, so you can put the face on and continue with your day. And sometimes, if I'm being honest, I'm freaking sick of doing that. I don't want to put the mask on anymore. The amount of energy and exhaustion that goes on with putting the mask on, you don't have to do that. You really don't have to do that. And it comes down to a choice. And it comes down to the, like, we talk about the power of positive thinking. It is not think positive, think positive, think positive, think positive. There are no weeds, there are no weeds, there are no weeds. It's not like that at all, because you are going to continue to get weeds pop up. You cannot kill weeds. You can kill them for, how long do they just pop up.
The wind blows the weeds, everything.
Yeah, but they're meant to be there. Like, they serve a purpose.
They do.
Right? So the weeds in life serve a purpose. So they're meant to be there for you, but it's how you're going to look at them.
Learn
and move forward. So let's talk about perfectionism, because I think that a majority of people that, from personal experience, we are seeking perfectionism based on our levels of self-esteem, okay? And when you do that, you're just setting, they're those high standards that you personally set for yourself. And everyone's got different personal standards, but it can also come back to things that you've experienced in your childhood. But really it is that wanting the approval of others, and it can slow you down in your tracks. Like, slow you down if you are constantly waiting for someone else's validation before you take the next step. Imagine I was waiting for, I don't know, for you to tell me to take the next step with my business, and if I never got your approval, I never did it. Then I've gone back to, our previous episodes, guys. We started with making the shift and then talking about we spoke about purpose, and then fulfillment, and then judgment. How can you go through any of those things? You're never going to be fulfilled. You're never going to have a sense of purpose if you can't fully accept who you are with your with the strengths and with the weaknesses. You're just not. And I hope we're landing on some of you guys. But
this perfectionism, this is like I just said to you before, I said more of a internal level of your imperfections is what makes you unique. But Bianca's talking more about a behavioral characteristic. Like, I always have to be right. This always has to be in order. This is the way that it has to go. If the business model that I'm about to take on right now, if it doesn't play out this way, then I failed. I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. I can't accept myself for what I need to do this. So you can see how all of that's really locked up tight. And yeah,
you're not going to go any further.
Well, yeah, we have to stop at some level, just because if we push the boundaries too far on that. We hope we're landing with you with the perfection and imperfection, the perfection and the imperfect nature of our human existence. We hope that's landing with you.
It's deep stuff. But you can see where the depression and anxiety keeps popping up in people's lives, and body image issues. You can see how you can easily compare yourself 100%. To other people or to what's happening around you, and not think that you're enough based on someone else, because you haven't actually come to grips with the wholeness of who you actually are. So
well, I just said I wasn't going to go deeper, but I just thought of something, so I'm going to go a little bit deeper again. The wholeness of what you are, part of that fear, part of that insecurity, Carl Jung talks about it in regards to being your shadow, the shadow side. And I'll be honest with you, I loved the book, The Power of Positive Thinking. And I loved, Power of Positive Thinking and Wayne Dyer, I loved listening to their stuff. But I got to this point where there was something that was missing for me.
The missing link.
The missing link. And I wasn't...
That's what I wanted to call tonight, the missing link.
I did want to call it the missing link.
We'll make it a series.
And I wasn't...
Because there's more than one missing.
There's too many missing bloody links. And I wasn't sure about what part I was missing. And it was this part inside of me, which was the shadow, which I didn't understand the concept yet. I hadn't got to Jung's work. So I didn't know that there was this part of me that I just didn't feel I could accept. I didn't feel was worthy enough. This is the shadow part. Now, I don't want to delve into the shadow because it's...
Let's describe it like a TV show. Go there. Yeah, you can say it.
Okay. I just making sure we're on the same page. Okay, so...
it's any TV show.
It's any TV show, but Bianca and I... Bianca and I, we got on the power bandwagon. We don't watch too much TV, or if we watch movies, we try and make it intentional and purposeful. But man, power really got us. And it was like, I don't even know if it was like the second season or the third season. And Bianca was like, she was just like, why the hell are why can we not turn this freaking thing off? And then I just said to her, it's the shadow side.
Yeah.
And she was like, what? So you got to understand, like any movie that is like, if you don't know what power is, don't watch it. Watch it, whatever. So it's like gangster America, drugs, killing, like horrific. When you actually put it, luxurious life, but death, like all this, madness. But and they wrap you into this luxurious life, and then they show you what you could have if you did this stuff. And the reality of it is, normal people sit on the couch in the reality that they're never going to do this, but they can sit in this moment, and part of them is going, "Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, if I was him, I'd do that." And this is that the shadows, but really, the shadow side of us is actually possible of these things. Like Jordan Peterson talks about. I think it's a series of books. I think it's Gulag Archipelago, and it's something to do with the
dropping them tonight.
the killing all the Jews in World War II, and the point that I'm trying to make here, he tries to show you that these were all normal German people that got took over by a shadow. What he's just trying to say is that the shadow is in all of us.
Yeah.
Let's just stop the shadow there. Like, you can get stuck into the TV show. I just understand that there is a part of you that you might not necessarily want to accept, but understand that there is a shadow in all of us. At some point in time, at the right purpose, at the right time, you're going to need to delve into it, because it might pop up and it might scare the shit out of you. It's okay. We all have that side.
But it just brings talking about the topic at hand here, it just brings so much guilt and shame. Like, imagine carrying that perfectionism with you around, and the ton of bricks that it feels to, if I do this and it works out well, great. I will think that I'll hold myself in high self-esteem, and I can accept myself because I've done it the way that it's meant to be done. And then you've got this other side where it's like, how can I escape from hating myself so much? I suck so much. How can I escape? And this is where people turn to addictions. They want to escape. The reality is that they really don't love themselves very much at all. And if we can, we're not going to touch on that at all, but it was just another thing that shows up in people's life when they're just not at that place yet. So
just to tie that loop closed for a second.
Yeah, let's close this section.
Just to tie that loop closed for a second. What you I feel what you need to do in that space, you really need to get to a point of surrendering all of that, forgiving yourself, like deeply, forgiving yourself for anything that pops up there. Like, it is the shadow side. You're going to understand that, like, we're very complex. So it's the forgiveness of all of that. Now, all of that rush of emotion, it's like letting it all flow through. It is a part of you. Let it all flow through. But this is the importance. Dan Millman talks about letting it flow and letting it go. Letting it flow and letting it go. The purpose, like, that's so important, the part about forgiving and letting it go. Understanding that this is inherent in all of us, but we all have the ability to let it go.
Yeah.
And the reason we let it go is that we can focus on the things that actually propel us, what Bianca's talking about now, the behavioral stuff that propel us forward, that actually give us the self-acceptance, the self-worth, the judgment of ourself that says, okay, I am enough. I can move forward without any validation of anyone else, without any materialistic worth of for myself, or to move forward. I can move forward without any of that.
Yeah,
that's sort of the purpose.
And you've heard us speak about this before, and we're going to say it again. We're going there. You think we're we're just going round and round in circles here, but the reality is that you learn through spaced repetition. So you can continue listening, or you can tune out, whatever you like, but this is where we're going to go. And the 2 key habits to appreciating yourself are words and deeds. The way you talk to yourself and the actions that you take to take care of yourself. So the first habit is self-talk. Use the power of your word. Okay, and if you listened last week, you would have heard about the book, The 4 Agreements. This is one of the 4 agreements. How important your word is. Have you noticed ever, and you might think this is a coincidence, that you say something and then that thing happens? It's no coincidence. You genuinely believe what you're saying, watch it happen. Because that's your belief, right? So that's how important your self-talk is. What you think is what you actually believe. And if what you believe, like think about the things that you believe in, which is why it's so important to get down to those core beliefs. Because if you continue to think that way and they're not so positive, then we're on the negative side, then negative is just going to show up. And then it's going to show up again. And it's going to continue to show up until you can break that cycle and change them to positive. Okay? So appreciate yourself. Start with the way you talk to yourself. Your thought creates your reality. We've said this numerous times, okay? Your mindset determines how you experience life. My gosh, like, wow. If you haven't read the book The Gift, one of my best friends, Chris Ballet, she's tuning in tonight. If you don't, like, her story is incredible. What a story to talk about. It just happens this way when we're on here. We don't know what we're going to say, and it just, the people that we need to talk about are here. She has 4 boys on the autism spectrum, okay? She could have looked at life, one intellectually disabled, okay, out of the 4. She could have looked at life over those 12 years or however many years she chose to live basically in isolation, what we've all been doing now. She did on a daily basis for over 10 years. She lived on government payments. She didn't have a purpose or meaning to her life other than to keep her boys alive. She flipped her whole mindset. And when I tell you flipped her whole mindset, the things she has taught me, I don't think I would be like, she's been the best mentor than any book I've ever had, because her life experience has given her the mindset change that she needed to then go and help other people live and change their mindsets and experience life in like the most fulfilling, beautiful way. So definitely jump on Amazon and get the book The Gift, because that is amazing.
Love you, KB.
And don't confuse loving yourself with loving your ego. This is like another topic in itself again, okay? But I'm talking like you're going to keep getting the negative emotions if you're thinking negative thoughts. That's it, okay? Don't mix like I've given myself love because I've bought myself this particular thing. That's what we're talking about, okay? The second habit, self-care. And I love this quote. A field that has rested gives a beautiful crop. You know when you need to stop. Okay? You can continue to push and you can continue to force your way through anything. But if you actually don't listen and pause and take the time you need to care for yourself, then you're just going to keep getting what you've been getting. Healthy self-talk alone is not enough. You can talk to yourself positive all you like, but if you ain't taking care of yourself, like the actions, you need to take action, which has to precede the words. So affirmation is one thing, believing it is one thing, putting that belief into practice is the next step. Okay?
So let's put that into reality. If you wake up in the morning and you're like, this is the day, I'm going to be healthy, I'm going to be positive, I'm going to be happy, go downstairs, sink a beer, and have like some donuts. This is, the point to my story is it's completely not congruent with what you've just affirmed. Do you know what I mean? It's not in line with what you're saying. Like, so Bianca's saying,
I'm healthy, and then you go downstairs and yeah,
like put that into reality. So if you're saying that you're healthy, what's going in the gob? If you're saying that your mindset's pure and you're happy, what is going through the mind? Like, think about what's going through there. You know, analyze.
Tell yourself you're worth it, and then prove it. Prove it to yourself. You don't have to prove it to anyone else at all. Like recharging our batteries, that's what self-care is. Recharging your batteries and doing things that put you in a state of joy, like long-lasting, sustained joy, not quick fix joy. And that's what I feel that the I am enough saga is trying to bring out in people, because you'll see I am enough affirmations written everywhere. But if you don't believe that you're enough, you're not enough. You can put it as your screensaver. You can write it on your mirror. You can talk about it to your friends. Like, yes, I feel like I'm enough. I look good. Whatever. But you're not. If you're not feeling it. And
it's a feeling.
Yeah, it's a feeling.
So, and that's, I just want to touch on when you were talking about the ego. This is a really good way to indicate if you're on track or off track. What Bianca's saying is, if you are moving down this path and you think you're on the right path, if it doesn't feel right, let's just say that you're still feeling tired, you're still feeling anxious, you can't really breathe, you can't like stop your mind for 5 minutes. I can't, I gotta go. This is the ego part coming in saying, I'll rule this, I'll take over. You might think you're in control, but it depends on how you feel. If you actually have the feeling of ease, you have the feeling of less stress, you go to bed and you go to bed like peaceful. Do you know what I mean? Like, think about the things I'm saying. Like, it's not actually not rocket science. Now that I'm saying simple. It actually makes a lot of sense.
Let go, let flow.
Yeah, if you like understand that, you could be on the same path, but internally how you're feeling. If you're still not feeling right, understand that your ego's kicked in and is taking control.
Yeah.
And it's not the actual true self-acceptance of what we're saying. Like, actually letting go, actually taking your downtime, actually resting when you need a rest, actually moving forward. This is the thing, moving forward when you need to move forward. It's not just all sitting here, sunshine and rainbows. Like Bianca said, you have to act at some point.
If you want to.
But there's a time to act.
If you want
and
to
there's
be
a time to
enough,
rest.
like if you want to feel that, that's right. And you can't punish yourself if you need the nap that day.
Absolutely.
Like if you need the nap, have the nap. And don't punish yourself for that. Don't be like, oh my God, I'm not perfect, and then they all play into each other. Every little scenario that I've said plays into each other. I loved this one last quote. It was, self-care is childcare. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You know, like,
nice.
It's a good one, isn't it? Self-care is childcare. You know, like, we go and drop our kids off at childcare to have a couple of minutes to ourselves, or wherever you're at in life with your families. Why can't we give that back to recharge and actually do something that moves us towards joy? And something that I spoke about yesterday with someone was, something that brings me joy is putting on music and having a boogie. And having a boogie at like any time of the day. It doesn't matter what I'm dressed in. I'll just chuck on a song. I think my kids know. I promoted tonight through Instagram story with like, someday somebody's gonna make you want to turn around and say goodbye. You know, like the end of Bridesmaids, right? And it was so good, like the drum beat, like do 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 do. And I love that song. Hey. And when I am feeling not enough, listen to the words of that song. That gets me right back on track. It's true.
It's good.
Anyway, we've been talking for way too long.
Yeah.
Love you too, Deb. So cute. All right. It is your last chance to take a snap with us and tag at lockdown.with.the.loshies. And, you know, give us your favourite takeaway from tonight for our May competition. We will be drawing it next week. We'll do it live, actually. We'll make sure that you know that we're not fixing any winners. But we would love to see what you've learnt from tonight. And thank you for joining once again. Sorry we got a bit deep. No, you know what? We're not sorry.
No, we're not sorry.
We're not sorry. That's who we are.
We're sorry that we couldn't delve into this for hours, because we could.
We definitely could.
We hope that we gave you some really important takeaways just to help.
Yeah. So self-talk, self-care. That's the basis of increasing your self-esteem to gain self-acceptance. Wow. All right.
Enjoy.
Lots of love, guys. See ya.
See ya.